Well, good afternoon to you. I'm Huey Poplock, and this is the Central Florida Computer Society and the Sarasota Technology User Group Windows Special Interest Group for Sunday, September 10th, 2023. I'm Huey Poplock. I'm cold infested, so I've arranged with Drew King to help us today. And of course, all of you are invited to make comments and help throughout the program as well. We'll be here till about 2:45, and then it'll be the main meeting of the Central Florida Computer Society on this same Zoom meeting. And our speaker will be Francis Chow, and it's going to be a very interesting program, so stick around for that. All right, let me go ahead and stop the share and say hello to everybody. I appreciate everybody making it today. I hope my voice holds out, and I hope I don't cough too much, but we'll see. So far, it's working pretty good. I've had a couple of bouts since we signed on about a half an hour ago. As most of you know, that we go online a half hour early to get everybody in, so they're here for the beginning, and also so we can socialize a little bit like you would if it was a regular meeting where we met in person, which we haven't done. That the WinSIG has been around since I think I've been running it for 20 years or so. So it's been here a long time. The website for it is, let me bring that up. You're seeing the WinSIG website, and it is at huey.net/WinSIG. And what I do is I list all of the articles that I have found interesting dealing with Windows or general computer items this past month. And then here's August's, and I list them. And then right after it is the recording for that particular meeting. And the recording for this meeting will be up in the next couple of days, right underneath the list that's here. We do go back a while. I have to do it in chunks of 6 months because the software that I use to produce the website will only hold 6 months or just over 6 months. So I try to chunk it into 6-month pages. So if you go down to the bottom, you can go back and watch any of the others, or you can go up to the CFCS YouTube channel and go back several years since we've been recording them. They're all there. They're not on my channel. They're on the CFCS or the Central Florida Computer Society channel. And if you need the link to that, let me know. All right, so let's go back to the top of the page here. And these are the items. And if you'll notice, I've got all of them open here at the top, so we can go through them fairly easily. Let's take a look at the first one. Drew, by all means, come in and talk about any of these as we talk. But let me show, before we do this, something that I'm going to try to do. And we're going to, let's see, I want a full screen. And what I want to show you that I can do is, so I don't have to talk as much, I can do this. And then I have, let's see if I can find it here. I was working on this morning. And it didn't always come up. So I think I can right mouse click, and I should find it here. And it's not, I don't see it. It was working this morning. Now it's, when you know it, it's not there. Anyway, why were PCs limited to 640K of RAM, and how did they fix it? Drew, you want to say something about this? Because I know you said you had a computer, something similar to this.
Well, my first computer that I ever had when I graduated from college was that PC right there. I had 2 floppy drives, not one, and the 640K of RAM. And like this article will discuss is the very beginning of the need to go beyond that 640K barrier that was created when the PC first became invented. And, Windows today, thanks to the Intel processors, for the most part, are capable of accessing gobs and gobs of memory.
But there was a limit, and it was 640K. So, and at that time, what you would do is you would bring in you'd buy a stick that had 8 chips in it, and you could put the 8 chips in to increase the memory to get it up to 640K.
Mm.
Oh, those were fun times. But and it just wasn't enough. And what people wanted was to be able to get to more than 640K. And the IBM reserved the remaining memory address space for other uses like ROM or read-only memory and hardware peripherals. So it was capable of addressing a maximum of 1 megabyte. But the difference between 640 and 1 meg was reserved for these other things. But that was it. And it was the gaming that kind of pushed the envelope and made people find ways to change this. And this is what this article is talking about. It's a little bit more technical than some of you want to know things, but it's still good to know that, you got a lot more now on your phone than we had in a big computer on our desktop. And so this article is so the bad old days. The next time you load up your favorite game or multimedia application on your state-of-the-art machine, take a moment to remember the days when 640K was a frontier and appreciate how far we've come. Perhaps the most importantly, don't forget that technology can still surprise us. While you may not think you ever need more than a few terabytes of RAM, a modern desktop computer can accommodate. It's always dangerous to be too confident that when we've gone far enough. I can remember buying my first hard drive. It was 40 megabytes. And I said, gosh, there's no way I'm ever going to fill that. I'll never need to buy another floppy disk or any extra storage again in my life. How quickly that changed. All right, let's go to the next article. Why is there not something here? Well, let's go to this one. That's it. Okay, let's go to the next one. I'm not going to really cover this one. It's 12 simple secret Windows shortcuts you probably don't know. If you read the article, you'll see some of the items that I'm going to talk about tomorrow on Tech for Senior. And I know a lot of you do join us for Tech for Senior. And so I'm not going to talk about those today, but this is where I got them from. Okay, the next article is, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that was actually a very interesting article. I recommend everybody read that one.
Okay, and the next one is Microsoft is removing WordPad from Windows after nearly 30 years. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment because I want to, I think I can see everybody still on my screen. Yeah, we don't have 47 and it looks like I'm not quite full. I can hold 49. Anyway, just by raising your hand like this, how many use WordPad? Oh, more than I thought. Just a few of you, but Murray, you can go ahead and put your hand down unless you need to say something about it.
No, I just don't have a camera, so I raise my hand.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Anyway, WordPad, if you're not familiar with WordPad, it is a really pared down version of Word. It's a word processor at its a very low end word processor. You can have different fonts, you can have different sizes you can have different size fonts. You can put in a graphic. It works a lot like Word. It just doesn't have as many things as you can do with it. But most people don't use it because they use something like Word or the Google Docs, which is free. And of course, Microsoft Word you can use free if you use the online version of it. but a lot of us also own Office, either a late version or maybe an earlier version. So a lot of us don't use WordPad. I have it on my toolbar and I seldom use it. I do use Notepad a lot. But and if you don't use Notepad, you really it comes in handy a lot. It's just to copy and paste something and take all it is a text editor, and it takes out all of the formatting. So and then I may copy it into Word Notepad and then copy it back out into Word, so it has stripped out all of the fancy things that you might have copied from a web page or something. So sometimes I do it in between like that. Although I have found that there is a shortcut when you paste to strip out everything. If you hit Control Shift and V, it will paste just text only. And so remember that one. Control Shift and V instead of Control V to paste, and that will strip out all of the formatting. Tim, you've got your hand up.
Sometimes you have to say you have a choice of hypertext or other things, not just stripped out. Sometimes you got to watch that.
Yeah, there's also like choices that you can do. If you don't click too quickly, you can see those choices. Yeah. Absolutely.
With WordPad, one of the principal reasons I use it, I do work with the web a little bit in modifying a site, and it doesn't put a lot of invisible characters in making a transfer of information I've accumulated into the website easier. But it also handles URLs, making them hyperlinks, which you don't normally get, but you get two choices in WordPad. It can be all text, or it can be an RTF file. And an RTF file can be opened by anybody.
Right. And where RTF came in, it was at one time, that was the only way you could go from, I'm trying to think of the word processor that the other program that doctors used and lawyers. WordPerfect and Word and WordStar, and also what was the other package that Microsoft had that
Lotus Omni Pro.
There was there was Symphony.
Yeah, but there was also another one. It was like I don't remember, but it was an all-in-one for and very inexpensive for people who just wanted to have everything together. Anyway, they all could save as RTF, so you could move a file back and forth between them. And and RTF stands for Rich Text Formatting. Murray, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I use lots of times, if I don't need fancy features of Word or LibreOffice, which is what I actually use, I use WordPad. I find it's way faster. So it's much faster to use. It comes up faster. Everything goes faster. So that's part of the reason why I still use it sometimes.
Yeah, the article does say that they're planning on doing it in one of the new updates, and it might be in 23. What is the nomenclature that they use?
H2?
Yeah, the 23 H2 that'll be coming out in the next month, probably. That it may or may not be in there, but there are recent articles I've seen since then have stated that it will be removed, and it should be removed in the next couple of months. So it'll automatically take it out of your Windows. So if you're used to using it and you can't find it, that's what happened. Okay. I don't see any more comments.
They say why?
Well, let's take a look at the article. And it says Microsoft, let me see if I can make it read it for me again. I had this working earlier today, but I rebooted. Why is it? There we go. Okay.
Microsoft is no longer updating WordPad and plans to remove the word processor from a future release of Windows. The software giant will instead recommend Microsoft Word, its paid word processor that has always been far more feature-rich than the basic WordPad app that has shipped as part of Windows since Windows 95. WordPad is no longer being updated and will be removed in a future release of Windows, reads a support note published by Microsoft on Friday. We recommend Microsoft Word for rich text documents like .doc and .rtf and Windows Notepad for plain text documents like .text.
Okay, and let's see if it does tell you. Microsoft updated its Windows Notepad app in 2018, and they're doing some more updates in it now. But WordPad hasn't been the same, hasn't had the same amount of attention. The word processor was updated with Windows 7's Ribbon UI, but after a slight Windows 8 redesign, it hasn't had any other major additions. Microsoft will now remove WordPad entirely in a future release of Windows, which will most likely be the Windows 12 version, but I'm seeing articles saying it's going to be well before then. What I heard on the Paul Thurrott talking on Windows Weekly with Leo Laporte, that they're saying it boils down to the fact that very few people use WordPad. There are some that use it a lot, but what they're finding is in the most out there that very few people are using it, and since they don't want to spend the effort to update it, they've decided to remove it. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next one here.
Huey, on that WordPad, I'm
Sure.
It's a case where since too many people don't even know it exists in their Windows system, and there isn't much articles or Zoom meetings that talk about it, that's the reason why people aren't using it. Therefore, it dies.
Yeah, but I use Notepad and I talk about it a lot on all of my and almost all of my Windows meetings. And it's still a lot of people don't remember and don't think to use it because they're used to doing things a certain way, and so they don't need another program to try to learn. So wouldn't you agree, Drew, on that? Do you use Notepad?
I have 3 computers, 2 of which have Office, and the third one, if somebody emails me a document, I use WordPad exclusively to open that and just look at the document, that somebody emailed me. I'm going to have to start installing LibreOffice or something else to view Word documents on that machine now.
Well, the Google Docs will also read Word documents. So you don't have to really bring in another program unless you don't have it on your system, what you most likely do.
Huey?
Oh, yes.
I used WordPad when I taught at the college, and people would come for beginning computer. And the reason we did that is because Word was just too overwhelming for beginners. But I don't use it that much anymore, and I like Notepad too, but I thought they were going to upgrade Notepad more and give it more features. I just looked at it on my 10.
Wait for the next, Diane, wait for the next article. I just jumped ahead and you'll see.
Okay, well, thank you. That was answered quickly.
Okay, so here are some new features in Windows 11 23H2, which will be coming within the next month. Let's see. Windows Copilot. And I'm seeing some things about Copilot a lot, but I be honest with you, I haven't really studied up on what it does, but taking a step forward in the integration of artificial intelligence, Windows 11 is set to debut Windows Copilot, an AI assistant that unifies Bing Chat and additional plugins easily accessible via a sidebar on the taskbar. Copilot aims to redefine the way users interact with their PCs. In other words, you all got to learn new ways of doing things. And that's going to start this month.
And this is also going to take over control for what Cartana was supposed to be.
That's correct. Yes. And let's see, the assistant is designed to guide users through a variety of tasks. Now we talked about last month that Copilot was going to be $30 a month, but that's for the business versions of it. What's going to be built into the regular Windows 11 apparently is going to be free. But I'm sure you can add on things it'll do for extra amount of money. The assistant is designed to guide users through a variety of tasks, answer queries, and even helping with travel plans, although without leaving the desktop. However, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. While the feature is promising, early reviews indicate that Copilot might not be as seamlessly integrated. Well, it's loading up some things here. Where to go here? Seamlessly integrated as users would like. Complaints about sluggish performance and occasional misunderstandings and interpreting the user intent suggest that Microsoft has some bugs to iron out for this otherwise groundbreaking feature. They may have it figured out by the time they release it. They may not. So your beginning experience with it may not be as good as you would like. I also, and let me go ahead and I'm going to go to another Windows here. And let's search for something in Google. Well, I will just do this. What is Copilot? And I don't know if you've noticed, and it may be you've got to turn something on to make this happen, but notice it's generating right here. This is a regular Google search now. And it's taking longer than it usually does. There it goes. It gives you a generative AI experiment. Info quality may vary, but it will do AI right at the beginning in a search that you do with Google. And then you can show more, and it'll give you a lot of information. It doesn't always have good information for everything you ask, but there's usually something in there that saves you from having to go through down below where you would do a normal search in Google. It'll give you a lot of the answer that you want right here. So check that out. If you don't have that, you've got to turn on the Google Labs. And what you can do there is go in and just say, how do I turn on Google Labs? And you'll get instructions how to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And
I just wanted to quickly say, Huey, I've been using that generative AI at the top of the Google search regularly. I like that I have the option to use it or not use it. In other words, it gives me the option to click on it and do like it generate the answer. It's really been helpful. I like it a lot.
Yes, it's really a neat feature. I use it a lot too. And it sometimes gives me some of the keywords that I want to put in with the AI to get more information and narrow it down to what I want. So all of my programs that I did on how to use the search engine is all going to change now. Okay, next on here is just going down is there's going to be a modernized File Explorer experience. So they're updating File Explorer in Windows as well. And so you can, they're going to have a carousel showcases recommended files for, well, that's for Azure, but there's going to be some changes in File Explorer that should help you use it. And there's also a comprehensive energy report for power use, and that would be more if you have a laptop. And there's some more articles about it. So we'll go ahead and close that. And Microsoft Edge is removing a few useful features. So Edge is going to take away some things that it has instead of adding to it. And Microsoft Edge has so many features unrelated to browsing that it's not a stretch to call it browser bloatware. And there's some functionality that can be useful, like the Bing chat sidebar. And that's over here. It puts it over on the sidebar. I don't have Bing here right now, but I can do Bing on something similar to it here in the Google Chrome. Come on, do it. Of course, that's not working now either. All right. Anyway, so they're going to take away some things. The let's see, a functionality that can be useful, but they're going to drop file sharing. There's also integrated MSN games and loans. So there's some things in there that if something isn't working, it may be because they took it out. The math solver is something that I really, you can type in some kind of a math problem in the search box and it'll give you an answer, but this is even more involved than that. And I didn't even know they had it, where you can go in and do extensive math right in the search engine and get the answers. They're going to take that out. People don't use it. And then the dictionary feature, it's called a picture dictionary feature that they have, where if you go to look up a definition, they may have a picture of it as well. That's going to be taken out. Let's see what else. Some citations and a kids mode are going to be taken out as well. And let's go to the next one here. Microsoft Edge will purge some of its features in latest updates. And this is what I just talked about, just another article about those same things. And we'll go to the next one. Come on. Oh, by the way, come on, go away, ad. I've been seeing articles from Reader's Digest all of a sudden appearing. I don't know if they've done something different or they've gone into technology heavier, but I'm seeing a lot of articles that are emanating from the Reader's Digest website. Now, I haven't spent any time looking at it, but some of the articles are pretty good. And this was a good article on the definitive list of what the F1 and F12 keys do. And they show you a nice picture. So if you're going to do an article on something that you're going to use and show and talk about the function keys or the F keys, here's a good picture that you can just right mouse click and save the image as. And I don't know if you've been doing this, but you can do that. And we'll put it on the desktop. That's where it's going to go. And I just tell it JPEG and I say save it. And I've now saved that picture that I can use in an article. Sometimes I'll grab the information of where it comes from too, so I don't violate somebody's copyright. Anyway, haven't you always wondered what those little function keys were? And so it's a nice article where it takes each one and explains all the things you can do with it. You got to learn them, or you got to have this somewhere next to your computer. And if you're like me, you got so many things next to your computer, there's no room for it, or you're not going to see it or find it. But my best advice is take one at a time and learn what it does, all the things you can do with it, and then play with it enough to make it easy for you to do it automatically without having to think about it. But it really, F7 and Alt F7 does a spelling and grammar check in Microsoft Word. Shift F7 opens the thesaurus in Microsoft Word. I never realized that. And then F9 refreshes the document in Word, sends and receives emails in Outlook. Control F9 inserts empty fields into Word. And F9 also displays the thumbnail for each window in a single workspace in Mac OS 10.3 or later. So that's if you have a Mac. Okay, let's stop sharing for a moment, see if there's any questions, comments, articles. Anybody have any comments? Oh, certainly somebody does. This is Save Huey's Voice Day. Come on. All right, we'll continue then. Let me share my screen again. As I said, Reader's Digest has been doing a lot of articles. Let's go to this article now. This is a PC World, and it's Microsoft Word, 9 tricks and hidden features in Word. A lot of you said that you use Word. Here are some things that you may not be familiar with. Finding elements, special characters, and formats. Word's search function only finds text. How can elements such as tables, graphics, footnotes, and even formatting be found? And the way you can do that, it's hidden in the Word search dialog. First, call up the search input field with Control F. Then click on the magnifying glass, and then click on the magnifying glass symbol. And here you'll already find the functions with which you can rummage in graphics, tables and comments, formulae, and footnotes. You can go even deeper by clicking on Advanced Find and then More. So if you open up Word and hit Control F and then hit on the magnifying glass, you will find a lot of things to do. Boy, I love these ads that just pop up. Now what happened? Did I click on it? Probably did. Yep. Shut that off and come back here. Emojis like in WhatsApp. To get that, let's see. In apps like WhatsApp, for example, you have a wide range of emojis, icons, and symbols at your disposal. Does Word offer something similar? And the answer to that is such little pictures are located in the ribbon under Insert Icons. And so here you can see literally hundreds of little pictures, which also can be searched via the search field. The icon categories range from analysis to holidays with the smileys in the faces section. So you can play with these. There's some other things here, watermarks, how to put a watermark on a Word document. You want it to say confidential. You want to say not for distribution or something like that. And you can have it there. So there's ways to do it. And this article tells you. And then some templates and designs. There's a lot of things in Word that you can do. You may not know how to do. And this article will tell you something. And if it's something you're interested in, you can learn how to do it quite easily. Insert text content without formatting. Protect documents with a password, create an automatic directory, and transcription of audio files into text. And it's on a responsive wait. Okay. And faster text messages and so on. So a lot of good items in there. If you use Microsoft Word, take a look at that article. I'm going to turn this over to Drew on this because I know he uses the
crop and lock.
PowerToys. Yeah, the crop and lock.
Yeah.
Not pop lock, but crop and lock. So let me go ahead. I'll stop the share for a moment, and then if you want to share, you can.
Let me bring open my PowerToys window here. This is a very new feature to PowerToys. And if some of you may be familiar with the term web app, where in a web browser, you can open a website in a single window without having it be all the browser tabs and menus and everything. This new feature that's part of PowerToys called Crop and Lock. Essentially, what you do is you have to have a lot of fingers to activate it. You have to hold down the menu key, the control key, the shift key, and then press the letter T.
When you say menu key, you're talking about the Windows key, right?
The Windows menu key, yeah.
Yeah.
The logo key.
Okay, what are the keys again?
It's the start menu key plus control shift key. And the one that actually works better than that one is Control Shift R.
Okay.
And let me share my screen real quick so that you can
Okay,
actually
while
see
you're
this.
doing that, let me answer a couple of questions that I see in the notes here, in the chat box. Boy, there are a lot of notes here today. Thank you, everybody. Murray said, my third computer and really useful one was the VIC-20, and then shortly after the Commodore 64, which only had 64K, next 640K, and it could do lots of useful stuff like word processors, spreadsheets, and so on. And then Jolin said, although I've used WordPad, I often go to Notepad anyway for simple processing, and she uses Control K to create a quick link for a website's text. At least it works in Gmail. I often use Control-Shift-V to paste plain text, and then select the link. Control-K will make the text a link, and it avoids opening the link dialog box. And she says she loves WordPerfect and still uses it. And then Harry said that he loves WordPerfect, and Jolin said Notepad already has added the additional tab feature. And let's see, Tom says Cetus has made a version of WordPad years ago. Yeah, there are some other text editors out there that do more than Notepad, but less than WordPad, or about the same as WordPad. And Harry said he's also in the chat boxes, a place where WordPerfect still has something to offer with its reveal code functions. And Joel said, please identify the article. All the articles that I'm showing you are all on Huey.net under WinSIG. And I list them all there. And they're actually not only the name of the article, but there's a link there for each of the articles. All right, go ahead, Drew.
All right. So right now you can see my browser screen. I hope.
Yes. Yep.
And because I have two monitors and I think I shared the right screen. This is a browser window that has all of the tabs for Huey's presentation today. I'm just open to this very same tab.
I'm saying the article, learnmicrosoft.com. It's the PowerToys page.
Oh, okay. So what I can do is press. Let me go. I have to keep bringing the PowerToys up. It's the mode that you want to use is called reparent shortcut. And what it does is it crops any application window into a cropped window, and it lets you scroll around and use the app inside that cropped window. And if you press the Windows menu key, Control-Shift-R, Control-Shift and R, it brings up a crosshair. And I can take this crosshair and create a box any size I want on the screen. And when I do that, it puts that web page into a scrollable window. And I can minimize the amount of clutter on my screen while still navigating around the web. If I had cropped a little bit higher up, I could have included the search bar in here. In fact, why don't I do that now so that you can actually see it work better? Control-Shift-R. I'll include the navigation bar and just a little window. Now I have taken the full screen browser and turned it into this little window. And I still have the ability to type in, entries to the URL and go to different websites, click on bookmarks, but I can go through the internet and in a smaller trimmed down window. And you can do this on any Windows app. I've been doing this for the last week or two now, and I have found it be handy, especially if you have a large monitor. You can put two apps on the screen and not have them take up, one app take up the whole screen. You can just have the part of the app that you're actually using.
Can you copy and paste from this to another program as well?
Yeah, this functions like a regular app. It is the regular app. Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
that would,
can-
so if you're trying to write an article and you're taking some information from another article, you could have that article and be able to scroll down the one that you're
Mhm.
using for the information and then type in what you want to take from it on the other side or copy and paste it.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a nice tool. And this is built into Windows. PowerToys, the Microsoft PowerToys. You do have to download it. It's free. You have to download it and install it, but it does a whole bunch of things. And when Drew goes back to the PowerToys menu, you'll see all of the different things that it has. It's a
Yeah.
lot of tool. It's a lot of tools.
If I go to the main menu
Overview.
here,
Yeah.
on the left-hand side of this menu are all of the different features. And we're on the crop and lock one. They have a very nice image resizer. I happen to, one of the ones that I use a lot is called the text extractor. And if you're visiting a web page and there is text embedded in an image and you can't copy it, you know, like right here where my mouse is, this is not text that I can copy and paste. But if I want to, I could press the menu key, Shift T, and it'll bring up a crosshair, and then I can select text in a box, and that just copied that text OCR into a clipboard. And if I bring up an empty, if I can find my
Notepad.
notepad, I'm just going to type it in.
We're just okay. You're almost on it.
Yeah, the problem is when you're in the middle of doing a presentation, everything in the front of your eyes disappears. And then if I open, why is Notepad not showing up? There we go.
There it
It's
is.
just
Yeah.
really big. There we go. It's just really big. But it took that text and put it into my app, my Notepad. And that's the feature. If you're on a Zoom call, this is something that's really handy for everybody. Let's say you're on a Zoom call and somebody is showing you a presentation in a web browser like Huey's been doing today. I have found that this app can actually highlight and grab the URL out of the other person's web browser on the Zoom call and let you copy and paste it into your Notepad so that you can save the URL that they're actually browsing on at that moment.
Or if they're
it does get it wrong a lot of the time, though. If you've got one that has a lot of characters in that URL, you better check to make sure that it's got every single one right, because it'll end up with things like instead of a C and an L, it'll put a D in there, or it'll put a 1 instead of an I, or something like that.
Yeah, I tend to have pretty good luck with it. And when you're on a Zoom call, a lot of times the URL is, you can't even read it with your eyes. Yet this text extractor seems to do a much better job of just grabbing it. And I've had 100% success rate so far copying URLs from a Zoom meeting.
where it also comes in handy if the presenter puts up a slide that has several links in it, and you want to have all those links, you can just do what you just did and highlight the where all those that information is on the screen, grab it, and it'll make text out of it. And you can then you'll have it. You don't have to write it all down.
Yes. So it's if you open the Microsoft Store on your Windows, you can find PowerToys in there and install it right from the Microsoft Store.
And it's free.
And it's free. And it is also on a website called GitHub, and there's a community development. And so there's a lot of people contributing to these little applets. And it's very handy to have. If you're on a Zoom meeting like this, I can double tap my control key and turn my mouse pointer into a little highlight bulb. So if to make it easier for you to see what I'm doing with my mouse. So it's got a lot of cool little gizmos. I like to use the awake function sometimes. My normal power settings will let my laptop go to sleep, or the screen turn off, or low power mode. If you turn on the awake feature, you can say that you want to keep it on for a certain time interval, like 10 minutes or an hour, and it will prevent your laptop or computer from going to sleep. So that if I have two computers and I often need to access one from the other. And if it goes to sleep, I can't get to it. So I right now I have this computer set to keep awake indefinitely. But normally I just set it to a time interval of an hour or 2 hours, however long I think I'm going to be needing it. And then it goes back to the normal power saving settings that it was before. So you'll probably find 3 or 4 utilities in here that you would like to be able to use. So it's very interesting to have.
Drew, there's a question on chat. Drew, do you think the crop and lock is better than having your tab in a new window and resizing it when you have to access the whole page or program?
Well, I'm very new to this product. What I use, I have on my tab, on my taskbar here, a link to, here's Bing Chat. If I click on this button here, it should open up the Bing Chat in a private window. And this is a Microsoft web, a Google Chrome web app. And I can move it around on the screen, and this is a browser window. So this is similar. What the crop and lock does is it works for any app. So I can take my Evernote and just eliminate all of the stuff around the periphery and just have my note on the screen. So you can find that it might be useful in more than just your browser.
Okay, and Jolyn says she's adding MS PowerToys right now. So yeah, it is. There are a lot of things that are really handy in there, and it's put together by employees of Microsoft. Although it's not called a Microsoft product.
Nope. And
Well,
it has.
I did a search for PowerToys and it came up Microsoft PowerToys, so it's
Yeah.
Microsoft in that sense. But
the
the origins of all the bits and pieces are from the employees and people and developers.
Yeah.
Yes. So take a look at it, and it adds a lot more keyboard shortcuts for you to remember. And you can create more keyboard shortcuts. It has, if you're into photos, the image resizer has a bunch of built-in presets so that you can change the size of pictures to a specific dimension automatically. So there's all kinds of things that in here that are nice to play with. Like I said, I use maybe 4 or 5 of all of the features, and you'll find the ones that you find most useful for you.
And when you start it up, you have access to all of them.
Yeah, when your computer, it runs in your system tray, and once your computer boots up, those keyboard shortcuts are always there. So if nobody else has any questions,
the resize one for the picture resize, you don't have to have that PowerToys loaded up to use it. It stays in there, and you can use it as a right context menu without having to have PowerToys running in the background.
Right. If you highlight a picture I don't know if I can do it with a PNG file, but if I right click here,
Resize
there might
pictures.
be, yeah, here, resize pictures. And if I click there, it should give me the option to resize this picture. I can make
Yep.
it an 8x10. I can fit it to a certain size. But it's available as a right click in File Explorer. So this is something that if you do a lot of picture taking, and you want to resize a picture for a specific size frame that you're going to order on the internet, this is a great way to do it.
Or if you have a real large picture and you want to put it in an email, and you know that the person at the other end, or you may not know, but you're not sure if they can accept a picture that large, you can immediately resize it and then put in the resized version.
So there's lots of little stuff in here that's very handy to have. If you have two monitors or a very big monitor, another one that's very handy is the fancy zones. Fancy zones, what it does is it lets you create windows on your, areas on your computer monitor where you're going to position applications. So in Windows 11, you have more choices of how to split windows up on the screen. And this takes it a step further and lets you put apps wherever you want them on your screen.
Oh, I've never used that. That sounds interesting to use. Does it remember? Can you set up one so the next time you open those files, it can
restore them to back to where they were before? Yes.
Okay, Murray.
This is a tool I thought that you would have been using, Huey.
I use it. I've got several of them, but I have not tried everything in it.
Yeah. But the fancy zones lets you, if you go in and you create the layout editor, you can design custom locations for where you want your apps to go. And if you have a big screen or you have two screens, you can design your own layout and make yourself more productive.
Play with that one too. That's good.
So this is another one that's handy.
Murray has his hand up. I'm presuming about this.
Yeah, well, it's related. And what my question is this: there's a feature that I use in Linux all the time that I find very useful. I've never figured out how to do it in Windows, or how to set things up so it would do this in Windows. And that is in Linux, if you highlight some text and then go someplace else, and this is especially useful in something like the console or command line, something like that, and you press the middle button or scroll bar, it'll do the paste. And that is extremely useful, but I've never figured out how I could do that, make my mouse behave that way in Windows. I don't know if anybody has ever done that.
I think I read something very similar to that this past week, but it wasn't something that registered in my mind. I'll have to see if I can help you.
Yeah. I don't think that I know of anything that does that.
Yeah, because one of the big problems I have, for example, if you're in a console, or I forget what they call it, power. Well, it's like a little window that shows a terminal, and if you can't paste into that easily. So, for example, if you have some very complicated thing that you want to copy from, say, a web page and put it into that, you have to type it all out. Sometimes it can be very tedious. And I don't know of any easy way to do that.
Yeah, I just saw something about it, but it didn't register with me. I'll have to see if I can find it for you.
Thank you.
I don't know whether it is what you're looking for, but something similar to that popped into my mind that I remember seeing something. So let me go back and see if I can find it.
You sent it to me in email.
Okay, I think that's enough
All
on
right.
PowerToys. Great.
Yeah, we ready to move on?
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, Drew, thanks. That was a lot of really good stuff. Is there any more comments? It's just the one thing that it concerns me is it uses a lot of keystrokes. Control Shift 3, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah.
It uses a lot of those, and every other program I'm using, you're using those. So some and some allow you to set up your own, and so all of a sudden now, when I hit one of the combinations, it's doing something else because something else has got that first. And so I haven't found a way to make sure I know which ones are going to do what, if you know what I mean.
That's why I say pick 3 or 4 things and be happy.
It appears that a lot of them are already turned on, so it's worth taking the time to go through, reading the documentation, and turning off everything and then turning them on one at a time. I like the little addition of the links, the shortcuts within the system tray. It's the stuff that you want to use is right there. You can even get away without using keystrokes and still use those features.
Yep. Okay, let's go back to my sharing here. How am I doing for time? We're good. We've got about 15 minutes left. And let's see here. And let's go to the next article. Here we go. 7 tech terms you're using wrong. Nice. Oh, thank you. How do you know? Tech jargon. Let's see if I can make this bigger. Here, we'll do this. Come on. Well, I don't know what's going on there, but it certainly wasn't what I wanted. All right. I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll make it just bigger by doing this. It's trying to read something and it's doing it really fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, memory. Memory is often wrongly used in reference to storage capacity of a device. And I always say to measure the device's total storage capacity measured in megabytes, gigabytes, or terabytes. But memory, I always have described over the years, memory, if you think of a computer, there's brains. Now what did it do? Now it's working. Now it's catching up. Anyway, there's brains and file cabinets. And most people refer to the file cabinets as memory, and it isn't. The memory is the brains. The file cabinets are your files and folders and so on. Your hard drive is not memory. Or even if it's an SSD card, even though it's kind of like a memory thing, it really is the storage area. It's not memory.
Right. And the difference there is that when you turn off your computer, the memory goes away and the hard drive doesn't.
Yep. And then Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi has become a catch-all term for the internet, owing to the ubiquity of the technology in our modern lives. It's not unusual to hear questions like, why is the Wi-Fi so slow on a flight or when checking into a hotel? And though this is a valid expression, it's not entirely accurate. Wi-Fi specifically relates to a wireless networking protocol. Wireless networking is used to connect your device, like a smartphone or a laptop, to gateways that provide access to the wider internet or other machines on the network. Wi-Fi is local, while internet is a global network. So sometimes we interchange those, and it really isn't. Hacking, hacker, and hacked. The term hacker probably makes you think of a dingy basement that's littered with a mess of computers and monitors like Neo's apartment in The Matrix. The truth is far less grungy than that, though there's an odd disconnect between the way the term is used and the kind of stock photos that show up when you search for the term. Hacking is not guessing someone's password because they chose password 123 and never enabled two-factor authentication. Hacking is not using social networking techniques to convince someone to hand over their login credentials. The people running remote access scams who promise to fix your computer over TeamViewer are not hackers. They are scammers. Your teenage son is not a hacker for gaining access to the router's control panel because you never changed the admin password when you set up your home network. And so it goes through and it kind of explains what a hacker is and so on. What about artificial intelligence or AI? We're using these things, these terms now a lot. The success of products like ChatGPT and large language model-based chatbots have capitulated the term AI into the mainstream. It's not uncommon to see daytime TV broadcasts discussing the ramifications of an AI-controlled hellscape where your employer replaces you with a Mac Mini and you're unable to believe anything you see or hear anymore due to the rise of deep fakes. In reality, the concept of AI is nothing new. It's been around since the 50s when Alan Turing published a paper about the future in which machines could think that later spawned the famous Turing test. AI has been a cornerstone of video game design and dating back to a similar period. You've likely interacted with AI systems for years, though it's true that the technology has seen some big advancements in recent years, and especially since November, with the arrival of machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, and computer chips designed to better facilitate these sort of actions. So what many now refer to as AI is in fact a collection of large language models and generative image, video, and audio tools. These neural networks have been trained on vast amounts of data, much of which is ripped straight off the internet, and are capable of regurgitating much of it in a manner that many of us would interpret as human-like. Through tools like ChatGPT have some interesting uses. They've also prone to lying, often bad at math, and have been derided by some as little as more than a word or pixel prediction engines, and so on. So, and iPad, you got to be careful with the term iPad. The iPad has become something of a Xerox or a Kleenex, and that it frequently is used in a catch-all term for any tablet computer. Though Apple certainly helped popularize the tablet format, they weren't the first company to launch a tablet, and the iPad wasn't even Apple's first tablet. That was the Newton in 1993. And though the iPad is still the best-selling tablet, it's far from the only option. Android offerings like the Google Pixel tablet, the Amazon Fire OS-powered Fire Max 11 prove that there's a market out there for non-Apple tablets. Knowing the difference could help you avoid disappointing your kids or grandkids at Christmas, since they almost certainly know what an iPad is. So if you're thinking about getting a tablet for your grandchild, and it's an inexpensive Amazon Fire tablet, don't say it's an iPad, or they're going to be very disappointed. So I thought that was good in this article. And then it goes on talking about what a modem is and so on. So I thought it was a good article to share with you. And what do we have? Google Bard AI, 10 ways to better that it's better than ChatGPT. I tried not to put anything in here with AI, but Bard and Google Bing, or I'm sorry, Microsoft Bing, people are using more and more. So it's rather than calling it AI, it's really everyday computer usage now. But following the public release of ChatGPT in November, It's expected that other prominent tech companies would do their own. And it goes on and it kind of explains what the Google Bard AI is and how to use it. And if you aren't using it, this would be a really good article to talk about it. We can do a whole show on it. So I'm not going to do that here, but I think the next article, no, that wasn't it. Let's see if it's, let me bring it up. I've got it here. Let me go to my desktop. I found something here that, yeah, right here. Welcome to. Apparently this isn't on a website. It's a newsletter, but it's a Bard newsletter from the team that makes it. And I thought this was a good article, and I grabbed it and I have it in my Evernote. But it's collaborate with Bard, featured prompts, certain things to ask, how to ask things using Bard, prompt engineering 101. And it tells you how the best way to ask questions. Instead of a featured tip, format the results. Let Bard know how to format the response and get the output you're looking for. So instead of, I want to design a logo for my community bookstore, try this. Draft a design brief for my community bookstore's new logo. And instead of, I'm applying for a marketing role, say, write me a cover letter for a marketing role. So depending on how you ask your questions is how you're going to get your answers, and a better answer at that. So it does talk about that, behind the scenes at Bard, the buzz around Bard, and so on. This is a newsletter, and let's see where you go to get it. I can unsubscribe here, and I would look for the Bard newsletter, and Bard no reply, so it's not through here. But somehow I subscribed to it, and this was the first one. So I guess it somewhere's on Google's webpage. You should be able to find it, or do a search for the Bard newsletter. And this was the August newsletter, volume 1, that I just got a few days ago. So it'll give you a lot of hints how to use it and get answers quicker and better. And let's stop the share, see if there's any comments or questions. I hope you are using Bard instead of the normal Google search first before you try to find an answer to something and then use the search. But if you use the search, always look at that at the top where Google does some checking for you, like Google Bard does. But to get to a Google Bard, if you don't know how to get there, let's go ahead and again share my screen here. And let me just get this is my typical, when I open up my Google page, when I open up Chrome, I have it set to use a Google search. But in order to get to the Google Bard, there's several ways you can do it. I've got a Bing shortcut, not shortcut, but a extension. But the best way to do it, if you want, is just go to Bard, and you can see that I've been there before. Bard.Google.com. And when you do that, it takes you right to the Bard search engine. It takes you right there.
Ooh.
Well, you notice I have a lot of things open here. Here it is. What I was looking to see is if it does have here anywheres where it says to sign up for their newsletter. No, but let's say
Maybe you can ask it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take Bard.Google.com and I put it in a web app on my taskbar so that I can open up this window just by single clicking with the mouse.
Now that's interesting.
See, it's done during your joining. Check the box next to my send me email about updates.
Where are you saying that?
Right in the middle of right where your mouse is. Go down about 2 inches.
Check the box next to send me email updates about Bard. Okay.
That's a
So go to the
checkbox
Bard.
that's only available when you're in the process of joining the waiting list.
Yeah.
I don't know how you go in after the.
But I think, and of course I can't do it because I'm past the wait list. I think the wait list now is as soon as you do it, you get an account. So if you go to the Bard.Google.com, it may say instead of going to that page, it may say join the wait list. And if you do, go ahead and sign in with your Google account, and it should take you right in. And from there on, you should be okay. And then make sure that you check the box next to where it says send me email updates.
Yeah, I've already signed in and signed up, so I go right to Bard.Google.com. I'm right there.
Yeah.
Once you do that, you'll be right. It'll be there available for you.
And then sign up for their news. And if it should be once a month, they'll send something out like this. And there may be more things coming. There's just so much information and news out there about AI and all these things, as I showed you. I'm trying to touch on so many bases with it that it's I'm trying to figure out ways now to kind of keep it in check and put it all together. I found another AI site that you can take all of your AI things and make a little box out of it and search for it and put explanations of what it is. And I'm not sure if it's going to be more work than it's worth. I was going to make a spreadsheet out of it. I still don't know how I'm going to handle that.
Oh,
because I can't. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I just found out how you can sign up for the Google Bard newsletter.
Okay.
If you go to Bard.Google.com and you're signed in with your account, you click on the menu button, the 3 horizontal lines in the top left corner of the page.
Let me go ahead and show them while you're telling me how to do that. So we're going to come over here. We're going to go to Bard.Google.com. So once you're on the page,
and you're signed in with your account.
Yeah, which I am. You can see here. It's still loading.
Click on the menu button in the top left corner of the page.
You're talking about the hamburger
lines, yes.
Yeah, the hamburger menu.
Single click there. Select settings. No, click it one more time.
Oh, okay.
And now,
show more.
It says here, select settings.
Maybe the settings, that's the Google settings.
That's Google settings. This is suggesting that there is a settings when you click on that 3 horizontal lines in the top left corner.
There was a load more thing, show more and then load more.
Yeah, but that's things that I've searched.
Yeah, that's not the right answer.
No.
So this is Google Bard giving me the wrong answer.
Yep. About itself.
It says go to settings, scroll down to newsletter, and then click subscribe.
Update location from your device. No.
But I'm trying to do it on my computer, and it's behaving the wrong way, just like it is for you.
How can I subscribe to the Bard newsletter? That's again, no. See.
Yeah, that's where you were before.
Yeah.
I'm being told it's not available.
Yeah, and I was too, but you saw it. I haven't. So somehow
I got have been at some point.
Some point I was able to sign up for it. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Google Bard newsletter is not yet available to the public. It is currently only available to a limited number of people who have been invited to test the product. However, Google has said they plan to make the newsletter more widely available in the future. In the meantime, you can stay up to date on Google Bard News by following Google AI blog or by signing up for the Google AI newsletter. So it's not Google Bard, it's Google AI newsletter. Maybe that's the difference. And you can also follow Bard on Twitter. They haven't switched it to X yet. So at Google
All right.
Bard on Twitter.
This has been the Sarasota Technology User Group and the Central Florida Computer Society Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG, for Sunday, September 10th, 2023. Thanks for joining.